Hello everyone, good evening. I have released a new version and I would like to explain how to use it in a simple way. The program and its source code are available on GitHub, so please download them from GitHub. This is the tool that you will download. The executable file has a character as its icon. Please execute this icon. The basic UI hasn't changed much. A file menu has been added and there are two major additions. A function called UID definition, which is used to set the UID on the Bakin side, and the preview editor function. I'll explain these two first. Firstly, there is the UID definition feature. With the preview editor, you can edit while displaying characters, and this function is for tying the UID required for this with the temporary character on the preview editor side. The settings you create can be saved in JSON format. Here's what it looks like. To explain specifically how to obtain the UID, first open a conversation event on the backend side. Resources to be displayed are assigned in this manner, so I've made it possible to copy data from here. There's no assignment here. Then use this event panel. Please right-click to copy. In the copied state, right-click on the text box on the tool side. Then, it will extract the UID from the clipboard and you can incorporate that UID. This UID is the same as the one already set above. The far left column is a temporary name. I said this because it would be hard to tell which one is which just by the UID. This name does not affect the backend side. On the right is a temporary image. This is also for displaying on the tool. It cannot display the same data as Bakin, so it's a temporary data for display on the tool. By setting these up when you open the preview editor, you can open the image like this. In addition, as elements of resources, there are expressions and motions of characters. These are things like happy and angry. It's hard to copy all of these from Bakin, so give them easy to understand names and manually input them on the tool side. Or, you can enter them later on the Bakin side. I'll close this for now. This is data that has been collectively copied from the event panel. The display speed is different from Bakin, and the font size and line wrapping timing will inevitably shift. Basically, the person writing the scenario inputs on this editor and creates the conversation event first while looking at this preview. That's the usage, I assume. After this, I'll also display it on the Bakin side, but you can manage player speech bubbles like this. This is bubble setting. You can set up players and events. In the latest Bakin, you may not be able to select other events. I haven't confirmed whether there have been changes to the function or there are setting conditions. You can determine who the speech bubble is coming from by the displayed frame. For speech bubble selection, you can set up the player, the event when spoken to, or the second to fourth of the party. If you execute pref, next apply, it gets saved and you cannot reload. Next is the duplicate button. It duplicates the same panel as the event panel you have opened to the next row. As for the compatibility status of control characters, I'm trying to match them as much as possible. However, it's different from Bakin's implementation, so some expressions may change. Basic notations can be previewed in this way. However, regarding the furigana function, this tool is using Visual Studio and there is no furigana in the standard features of .NET. Therefore, for furigana, I'm going with the method of displaying it by having the font size after the target character. It looks different from Bakin. Weight is just as it is. Then, wait for input and automatically close. That's about it. Regarding the waiting for input and automatically closing, the editor might close unexpectedly, so we display emojis instead. It's like this. This is the waiting for input, and this one is the font size. It's still small, and it ended up included in the furigana. The left arrow emoji becomes automatically closed. This way you can check visually. Next is the Autoscroll checkbox. It looks like this when you enter a long sentence. In Bakin, you have to turn the page each time, but in the preview editor it's a function that helps to scroll automatically. Please understand that Bakin does not scroll. Please use this purely as a support function for creating conversation content in the editor and for checking text. When you press skip, it is displayed instantly. Then, if you try to close it while it's still in the unsaved state, i.e. you can return to it with a reload, a confirmation pop-up for discarding the edit will be displayed. Please press apply to save. Also, on the main screen, you can switch panels by dragging and dropping. Let's try to copy this to the clipboard. Then, create a new event and paste it. It's like this. The data edited in the tool can be pasted on the back-end side and displayed, including characters. Of course, you should be able to copy and paste data from the back-end side, but I'm encountering an error now. I'll investigate the cause. Because I implemented the parsing of the data format on my own, there might be errors depending on how you use it. I believe the app won't crash fundamentally, but I would appreciate it if you could edit while taking backups. The data created here. The JSON looks like this. It's hard to see because it's Notepad, but it's in standard JSON format. The conversation data too. It's a bit hard to see, but it's CSV data, so you can edit it in Excel. If you create only the conversation text in Excel at first and load that data into the tool, you will set the information needed other than the conversation on the tool side. I hope you will proceed with creating the scenario outside of Bakin in this way.